So I began this build by printing out some reference material, and a buddy of mine is an electrical engineer, so I asked him to make up a wiring diagram for me. Unfortunately, I think he gave it to his kid because what I got back was not a wiring diagram, but a drawing of a rocket ship. Yeah, I was going to quit, and then I got a cameo from Tron himself, Bruce Boxleitner.
Hi, Tom. This is Bruce Boxleitner. And I hear you are building, I hope I get this right, you are building a half-scale stand-up Tron game. Wow, that is cool. I hope you know how to do all the wiring and everything. Anyway, I think it's really cool because that would be me on the side of every ballet game I ever saw, especially if that's what you're doing. And I am Tron. Perhaps, if you follow me a lot, you can come to one of my conventions, bring the panel along and I can sign it for you. That would be cool, huh? I'd be very proud to do that. A homemade Tron game. Wow. Who knew, huh? Anyway, thank you, Tom. And Tron's forever.
So I'm on the verge of being homeless. I needed a way to come up with some money for this build, and as luck would have it, I happened to get a credit card application in the mail. And so that's a good start. But then this happened. This woman ran a red light and hit the side of my car. And so after a very peaceful and non-threatening, gentle conversation, she decided to help me out and blessed me with a little bit more of the things I needed. And with that, I went to the hardware store to go shop for some wood. So I found some plans on the internet, and I downloaded them, and I hired somebody with a CNC router to go ahead and cut them all out of 3/8" MDF. I ultimately had to do this twice because I tried to put a T-channel in, and it didn't work. Here it is, being glued together in my apartment. And then I went ahead and designed and 3D printed a little bezel as well as an LED holder to kind of get things going. It came out pretty nice. I went ahead and gave it a lick of paint, and I even got the black light installed, and it came out pretty sweet. I bought this shroud on eBay, and we used some cardboard to do some measuring of it. I then went ahead and mocked it up using some 3D software. And I printed out some artwork and colored it in using ultraviolet markers so that I had art on the side. Here is what it looks like underneath the UV reactive bulb. So I think this is going to work. So I 3D printed out some side pieces, and from this large shroud we now have the mini me shroud. I also went ahead and printed out some more artwork, and using the same UV markers colored it in. And there it is. It came out pretty sweet. I'm pretty happy with it.
So my friend Curtis, he knows that I've been going through a lot of financial stress. So he decided to give me this book on primal screaming. And while I'm not good at reading books, I thought I should at least give it a try. I had to purchase an actual joystick on eBay so that I could scan it. I hired my friend Mike to scan the joystick at his job. I'm not allowed to go to his top secret government facility and film, however, so here is a high-quality Hollywood-style reenactment. As you can see, I spared no expense. The scanner you see is a $40,000 state-of-the-art 3D scanner, and the suspending armature clamp is the best you can buy for scanning such a joystick in high quality.
The scans came out pretty sweet. I 3D printed a copy on my home printer, and then I also ordered some high-quality resin ones from the internet. I then set about to build up some molds so that I could cast it with some blue resin. Here I am mixing up the resin, after which you have to place it into this chamber to remove the gas. It's called degassing the resin. I'm guessing there's probably a reason for that. Then you have to pour the hot liquid into the tight hole. Once you do that, you let it sit overnight, and here you are. I now have a tiny joystick. I purchased a Sanwa joystick. That's what this here is. It's basically a Pac-Man joystick. And the problem with this joystick is that it rotates freely around itself on the center. So given that I'm trying to build this flight stick system, it needs to basically stay in the X and Y and not freely rotate around itself. So I 3D printed this mechanism here that basically would allow me to do that. And I went ahead and I 3D printed a plastic shaft so that I could mount the micro switch on for the trigger button. I went ahead and used the same relays from the Sanwa joystick, which you see here, and I designed the whole thing so that it would all fit together. I then mocked up the flight stick as it would actually work, and I then measured out the control panel, and you're going to see that here the whole thing's kind of done together. With that, I 3D printed and spray painted a few buttons just so that I could get this whole thing working. Here's the micro switch installed on the flight stick itself. I went ahead and got some clear acrylic and thermoformed a plastic dome to go over my LCD screen. I wanted the LCD screen to kind of look like an actual tube television. I got the Raspberry Pi working and was able to get the Tron game actually playing on the actual Raspberry Pi. Here's a mock-up with the control panel. I then went ahead and I installed the whole thing into the cabinet and then got into a very heated game of the tank battle. And in the process, I snapped the joystick because it had a central plastic core. So I printed out some more artwork and colored it in with the UV markers. Here I am giving it a little bit of a lamination. And here I am testing it out so you can kind of see the glow. My coloring in is not the best, but it's certainly fine for what it is. So I went ahead and glued it onto the control panel. The problem I had was that there's a piece that wraps over the edge, and the glue would not hold. And now I'm in a bit of a crisis because I don't really know what to do and how to fix this. I don't really want to redo all of this because of the sheer time it took to get this far. So someone on Reddit called me out for not using a CRT tube television. They were not very nice to me. So with that, I purchased one from the parking lot of Home Depot behind the dumpster, where a person from eBay met me, which was a little unusual. But the issue with this is that it's 10.4 inches, so it's just not going to fit. So I had to buy a 9-inch, and this was actually 9.4 inches and perfect. So I had to swap the Raspberry Pi from the CRT over to the, swap it from the LCD over to the CRT. The CRT was great, so I had to basically disassemble the whole thing without electrocuting myself. And I made a little measuring stick to see if it would actually fit inside the cabinet. And as you can see here, it actually does with about 5 millimeters to spare. So it's a little bit tight, but I think it'll work out. I 3D printed some TV brackets for it and did a little extensions of the wire, and not the best with this kind of stuff, but here it is installed. And what you can't see is that my roommate is standing behind me with a fire extinguisher in case this thing blows up. So through the magic of editing, this is the point where I turned it on for the first time, and you can't even imagine my happiness that this thing actually worked. I was sure that it wasn't going to do this, and as you can see, it gets all the way through to the Tron game with a little bit of creative editing. So I decided to celebrate a little too much, and in my drunken stupor, I sent an email to George Gomez. Naturally, he didn't respond. So instead, I printed out some photos and a letter and a copy of the artwork for the side and popped it into a tube and shipped it to him. Now, for those of you who don't know who George Gomez is, this genius is the man who designed the cabinetry and much of the gameplay. He is a legendary designer and is currently the top dog over at Stern Pinball. He decided to autograph it and ship it back to me, and I installed it right away on the cabinet. I couldn't be happier than to have George Gomez's signature on one side of my half-scale Tron. All right, so here I mocked up the coin slot door and popped it on the 3D printer, which kept warping, and had to do it about 30 or 40 times before I got a good one. And then went ahead and spray painted it, and this one worked out nice. It had a nice, like, speckled, textured finish, and that's the secret button that I put in right there. I was having a bunch of problems getting the silver paint to stick. This is a resin 3D printed coin that I glued in the slot, and I kept trying to get this silver to stick. It just doesn't. I mean, I've tried everything with clear coats and you know, countless failures. You can see there's a pretty good number of them right here, and I arranged them into like a little switch graveyard. But in the process of trying to get this together, I scratched the paint on the black and I couldn't fix it. And this took me about a good solid week and a half, and it's going right in the trash.
Oh! Hello, T. John Lovitz here. Guess what I heard? You're making a half-scale Tron arcade. That's a stupid idea! It stinks! And you stink! But seriously though, hang in there. Overcoming failure is a part of life. Good luck from me, John Lovitz!
I'm really sure if you can kind of see the finish. It's got kind of a satiny, glossy kind of thing.
I made up some of those 25-cent piece signs and printed it on my 3D printer. Afterwards, I coated it with some nail polish to give it the same glossiness that the original would have had. I then printed some light bulb holders and stuck them on the back and wired the whole thing together. And as you can see here, the 25-cent piece is actually lit. I went ahead and got this logo printed out and mounted it to the foil. And with this, the Tron build is officially done. Bruce Boxleitner was going to be appearing at the GalaxyCon, which is 6 hours by car away from me. Now, my car is over 10 years old and has 200,000 miles on it, along with an engine light and an airbag light. So, after some repairs, I decided to give it a wash, and with that, I would be on my way. And unfortunately, I took a wrong turn and got lost. But eventually I made it, and here I am at the convention. I'm one of the first people through the door. It's on the first day, Thursday, and I waited in line, and there he is, the man himself, Bruce Boxleitner, in the flesh. He took a picture and autographed it for me, and with that, we have the final reveal.
Hi, Tom. This is Bruce Boxleitner, and I hear you are building. Let me get this right. You are building a half-scale stand-up Tron game. Wow, that is cool. I hope you know how to do all the wiring and everything. I think it's really cool because that would be me on the side of every ballet game I ever saw. I am Tron. I am Tron. And Tron's forever.